Welcome to the Dis-Ease is the Cure show, right here on Glow 365 TV and radio shows, also streaming on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. Thank you all for tuning in. You can also watch us on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows. In these shows, we explore the many dimensions of holistic wellness to lead a more fulfilling life. Your host, Leonard Burke, a soul therapist, a psycho-spiritual coach, consultant, and author of the book, Dis-Ease is the Cure. Mr. Burke is also an advisor to Glow 365 TV and radio shows, the producer of his series, and is the Dean of Faculty for QuillyWorks, the group that originally provided a platform for these shows. We are committed to the meaning of the name QuillyWorks, which is Truth Works. And now, let's get started.
Hello, greetings. The title of today's show is Lose Your Mind and Find Yourself. Lose your mind and find yourself. This is what we feel is a key to the curative process of dis-ease. But in order to get more deeply into the subject, let's first see if we can be clear on what we mean by dis-ease. In this context, dis-ease is any chronic, recurring upset in the organism. This could be the body, it could be the organism of relationships, it could be in the social arena, or it could be in the earth body itself. Also, the dis-ease symptoms can specifically consist of body-mind ailments, relationship problems, social unrest, global wars and conflicts, even natural disasters. All of these dis-ease symptoms are actually each organism's attempt to heal itself. How do you know it's really a problem that's recurring or that's chronic? Well, such dis-ease is attendant with physical, emotional, and/or mental pain and suffering and upset that's persistent, that's constant, and sometimes doesn't seem to abate. So then what is cure? Cure is transforming the inner obstacles related to the dis-ease. Cure is not just treating the symptoms, suppressing the symptoms, whether it be physical ailments, whether it be in the social arena, whether it be in the relationships. Band-aids don't work, or they only work temporarily. So we're talking about transforming the obstacles associated with the dis-ease symptoms. And ultimately, we're all looking for peace and fulfillment. Now, recovery can occur to the extent that we manage and not just suppress the symptoms of dis-ease. Rather, healing requires getting at its root causes in consciousness, even if some temporary suppressive drugs or surgery is necessary at some point. I mean, this brings up the question of what we come into the world with, certain conditions that we have that seem to be related to weaknesses in the body, weaknesses in the mind, existing conditions. Well, recovery means getting at the root of it and as close to cure as we can get. It means by not suppressing the symptoms, but just managing them. If we get at the root causes of the dis-ease in consciousness, then greater recovery and healing is possible. consciousness is a key. All too often, we complain about, I keep having to take these drugs. They can never tell me what the cause is. How can they know how to heal me, whether it be my physical body or relationships or the social arena? How can they know how to heal if we don't know the root cause of it? For instance, somebody may be in accidents all the time, and they get certain injuries. It's just you ask them, well, what's the cause? How did you get those injuries? Well, I was in a car accident. Well, that's the immediate cause. But why, you're getting in car accidents or accidents of one kind or another constantly? It means that there's something in your consciousness, or lack of, that aids and abets certain diseased conditions. Yes, we can even come into the world with hardwired mindsets that, unless we embark upon a course of healing and consciousness, tend to aid and abet or worsen the diseased conditions. Yes, it's true. If you break your leg, you may not be able to grow a new leg as far as cure is possible. But if you raise your consciousness, you may be able to reduce the suffering and the upset associated with having a broken leg. I know there was once a man who was a world-class athlete. He broke his leg, but instead of wallowing in it, he went and got a prosthetic from a world-class manufacturer, and he wound up being an Olympic champion. So it's all about managing and not suppressing the disease symptoms and getting at the root cause of the disease symptoms in such a way that cure is more possible. And at the very least, we're able to persevere. We're able to reduce the suffering and the pain and upset associated with the disease. But let's get back to lose your mind and find yourself. That's the key to healing. That's the key to this dis-ease being the cure, because it's part of the process of losing your mind and finding yourself. We're going to talk about that. If you look carefully at dis-ease conditions, we realize that we as human beings, to some extent, are dominated by the mind operating through the senses of perception. We are dominated by the mind operating through the senses of perception. And the mind and the senses and the material world as such is here today and gone tomorrow. It's not permanent. It's not eternal. And if we're dominated by the mind operating through the senses of perception, then that higher level of fulfillment that we seek, that higher level of recovery from dis-ease that we seek, is far less possible. So from this point of view, actual cure or a curative process is one of reversing that order, reversing it from the mind over the soul to soul over mind, from mind over soul to soul over mind. Why? Many ancients have said the body-mind can be a good servant, but it's a poor master. Who should be in charge? The self, the true self, the spirit self. So that means that in order to get there, you may have to lose your mind temporarily, okay, and find yourself, because yourself, being the eternal part of your being, the source of healing, can effectuate a curative process of dis-ease. So what does this mean? You're not your body-mind. Rather, your body-mind belongs to you, and it was lent to you by your creator. It's a costume worn by you, worn by the spirit, which is the true self. On the walls of the great monuments in ancient Kemet, aka Egypt, says, "Man, know thyself." It's talking about know who you are. You are not your body. And since it's the source of life and healing, if you know yourself, then healing becomes much easier. So before we go further, let's take a quick break. And when we return, I want to expose more about this costume we wear, which consists of masks that we wear. And these masks perpetuate the dis-ease symptoms that we experience. Be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas bells are ringing, and the Jamaican American Association would like to invite you to our annual Christmas celebration on December 16th, 2023, from 6:30 till 11:30 at the Church of the Messiah, 241 Main Street, Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. Tickets are available at $60 for adults and $30 for children 12 and under. Call 407-486-5001, 407-276-3685, or 407-292-3719 to get your tickets and information. Visit our website, jaaocf.com, to learn more about us. We look forward to celebrating Christmas with you this year.
Welcome back to the Dis-Ease is the Cure show. If you just joined us, our discussion today is on lose your mind and find yourself. That's my calling card as a soul therapist. And what I found is that part of the curative part of dis-ease is to expose the underlying suppressed patterns of behavior, emotions, thoughts, and beliefs that aid and abet or have a causal relationship to the dis-ease symptoms. Meaning we wear masks. We wear belief masks, thought masks, emotional masks, behavioral masks. We're actors. And in order to heal, these have to be exposed. In order to summon the energy to clean it up, so to speak, they have to be exposed. Now, I said it has a causal relationship to the dis-ease. Again, some dis-ease conditions are inherited. They didn't start by something you thought yesterday, okay? But in the process of recovery, you have a choice. You can deal with the hand that you dealt, so to speak, and raise yourself to another level and suffer less from the dis-ease symptoms, or you can aid and abet. You can aid and abet those bad conditions. And causal relationship means that the thought patterns and belief patterns and so forth associated with the dis-ease were there when you came into the world. And then in the process of living, you continued on that road. This is something that can be very, very deep when you delve into it. What does it say? It says that mama, papa ain't the cause of your problems. The white man ain't the root cause of your problems. Maybe he has made it worse. Maybe he'll pay for it, but he's not the root cause. As a man thinketh, so is he. The fruits we bear are from the seeds we've sown. So some people ask, well, you talk about reincarnation. We're not going to get into that debate here. Suffice it to say that if you're born with certain conditions, certain hardwired mindsets, then It started somewhere with a seed. And the only seed that you have control over are the seeds that you sow through your thoughts, words, and deeds. So, what are we trying to do in the science of dis-ease as medicine, dis-ease as a curative process? We're hoping to, if you lose yourself, lose your mind, and find yourself, we're hoping to accelerate your healing or recovery, reduce the suffering, and only that you can persevere in spite of the problems and maybe get better. Sustain well-being without suppressive side effects that come when all you do is suppress the symptoms or treat the symptoms. And we want to do it in a way that's in harmony with the soul, with the spirit, soothing for the soul. Now, there are certain signs that healing is taking place. And this is true of whatever kind. Many of you may be practitioners, or you may be engaging in relationships with healing practitioners of one kind or another, whether it be in the health field or other sectors of society where there are organisms that experience dis-ease. Some of the signs are you should feel like some of the burden has been lifted from your shoulders. You should calm down like a balloon that releases air. Your thinking should become clearer. You should have some added insight, even aha moments. And you should have a greater degree of joy or peace, even if it's just a taste of honey of peace. These are some signs that a healing is taking place. It may have to work itself out, but those are some signs. More in the long term, you want to be able to be more guided by intuition and divine wisdom instead of just intellect. You want to have the will and an energy to act. You see, you want to be able to meet all the responsibilities of life that face you. One of the ways to do that is what we call mind fasting. That is the detoxification of the mind. If you detoxify the mind, you free up your behind. Excuse my French. Mind fasting, what is that? Well, the best way to get an idea of what mind fasting is to know a little bit about the process of fasting, which people normally engage in. Stop eating certain foods, stop imbibing certain liquids and foods. But the idea, the principle is the same, that the problems that we experience, there are related toxins in the mind, in the body, that have to come out. A lot of times when people do a physical fast, they're surprised when emotional toxins come out, when mental and belief toxins come out. And if they're not ready to deal with that, they go right back to taking in the same things that made them sick in the first place. So mind fasting is detoxifying the mind. And that leads to detoxification of the body. So, what causes this detox? What causes the toxification? The dis-ease symptoms. A great man by the name of Tilden talked about it as innovation, meaning innovating ways of living. Toxic or innovating ways of living. Taking in more toxins than the body can eliminate along the way. And symptoms of sickness become the body's attempt to eliminate the overload of toxins that have innervated the person. And until this nerve energy is restored by removing the root causes and then adopting a way of life that is less innovating, disease symptoms will continue. That's a vast subject. Tilden, John Tilden, is a person who wrote a lot about it, innovation. We're led to believe that germs cause disease. From another point of view, germs are present in diseased bodies. What's the purpose of a germ? If you throw a piece of meat on the sidewalk and let it sit there, the germs, the maggots, the microbes will break it down so it can be washed away in the rain. Similarly, even when you take antibiotics, because these germs are feeding on diseased tissues, decaying tissues. The antibiotics and other drugs can actually kill cells. Well, what happens to the bodies of those cells? Those bodies, too, have cells. As I said, part of the curative process is mind fasting, detoxifying the mind and freeing up the behind. What does that mean? It means that when you do any kind of a fast, whether you fast from physical foods or you fast from certain ways of thinking, by doing so, the mind begins to detoxify. And if you know what to do, this extends to the body. And where do these toxins come from? They come from innovating ways of living. And these innovative ways of living are rooted in underlying patterns within us that tend to aid in the better perpetuate disease symptoms. And therefore, we're using up more of our energy than we're taking in. And this disease symptoms is the body's attempt to get rid of the overload. We think we're just being sick, but no, that's curative. The body detoxifies until it gets back to normal, hopefully. But if we keep suppressing, where do those toxins go? They're distributed throughout the functions and structures of the body and lead to long-term problems. We're not going to go too deeply into innovation. John Tilden was a great man who wrote about it. But in order for us to discover, to manage, to let disease be curative, it's necessary to what we call interiorize. What does that mean? It's necessary to discover the relationship between the external disease conditions and how it mirrors what's going on inside of us. Interiorization. The conditions that exist outside of me, what are these conditions saying about what's going on inside of me? And that's related to what we call trapped soul energy. The energy of the soul is what does the healing. Qigong practitioners and pranic yoga practitioners know this, that we have to find a way to take in more qi than we lose through innovation, take in more prana or qi. We have to learn how to distribute that qi throughout the body through exercise and movement. We have to learn how to take in foods that have a greater supply of qi. We have to learn how to sleep, rest, etc. And if we don't do all that, then we perpetuate the disease symptoms. But I have to tell you, even if it's a master herbalist or a conventional doctor, if you're not aware of the relationship between the external disease conditions and what's going on in your mind inside you, where the root cause is, then you're putting on a Band-Aid. Everything in this world that's manifested on the physical plane has certain patterns of behavior inherent, certain patterns of emotions, certain patterns of thought, certain patterns of belief that aid and abet and perpetuate those conditions. So if all you do is alleviate the immediate conditions, and better have it alleviated by an alternative healer, but still you want the kind of alternative practitioner who also sees the relationship between what's going on inside your mind, in your consciousness, as it relates to the dis-ease conditions. Before we go any further, let's take another quick break, and when we return, I'll explain the supreme role that consciousness plays in recovery from dis-ease. Be right back.
Dis-ease is the cure if the symptoms are consciously managed, as in soul therapy, which uses dis-ease as medicine. It exposes the root causes of the conditions, whether they be physical, in relationships, or in society. Soul therapy is complementary to all other modalities of healing or remediation because it accelerates cure, reduces suffering, and attracts the wisdom and energy to help prevent, treat, or recover from dis-ease.
Welcome back to the Dis-Ease is the Cure show, right here on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. If you just joined our discussion, we're talking about lose your mind to find yourself. Lose your mind to find yourself. That reminds me of a scripture. I know it's in the Bible, and it's one way or another in many other scriptures of many religions, because underlying all religions, in our view, is the same universal principles. And that is, be still and know that I am God. Lose your mind and find yourself. Be still and know that I am God. How are you going to know who you really are as a divine spirit connected to God if your mind is running amok? Your mind is running all over the place. How are you going to find out who you are and avail yourself of that healing energy unless you be still and know that I am God? Being still and knowing that I am God is more than begging and praying. Praying has its place because in prayer we can be very sincerely thankful for the love and the mercy of our Creator. We can be grateful for all that we've been given and all that we have. We can pray to be a better person, to be a more loving person. All that's beautiful. But truth be told, the Lord knows what's in our heart. But are we still enough to get our instructions? Are we still enough to tap into that healing energy that comes from consciousness? So we have to slow down or stop thinking in order to make contact with the spirit. This is a way of accessing divine wisdom, what we call intuition. And then we let the spirit guide the mind body to recovery solutions. And then have more of the will and energy to act. It's a very simple formula. If there is a creator, I believe there is. I didn't create myself. Is there some force or energy that allows the sun to rise and set every day, that allows a seed to become an oak tree, that sustains our heart and lungs to beat and breathe millions of times in a lifetime? Then what in the human being is a manifestation of that force? It's the spirit. Scripture says man is made in the image of God. This doesn't mean that God is some old man with a long beard up on top of a hill. It means that there are three essential qualities of God, as the ancients tell us: omnipotence, all power; omniscience, all knowing; and everywhere, omnipresent. And if man is made in the image of God, meaning the essential part of the man, the human, is his spirit, which has the same qualities, innate qualities of her creator, and which is our connection to the creator. But for some reason, because we were given free will and the ability to manifest thoughts, words, and deeds, the spirit becomes like a light bulb covered with paint. The paint is all the results of our thoughts, words, and deeds. Mainly those thoughts, words, and deeds that are associated with 5 vices that masters talk about: ego, anger, lust, greed, and attachment. That's ego, anger, lust, greed, and attachment. So the process of realizing who we are as divine spirits is chipping away that paint that's on the light bulb. How do you do it? Well, if we have to learn the ways to stop the mind, which is guiding the thoughts, words, and deeds, and being still, get our instructions, get our energy in order to proceed towards realizing the divine spirit who we really are. So before we go any further, let's take another break. And when we return, I want to explain why consciousness is the quickest route to healing. Be right back.
Glow 365 TV presents Sisters of Faith, hosted by Coach Lady Q, founder of Sisters of Faith in Pink and Pearls. Lady Q is an evangelist, certified life and relationship coach with a bachelor's in pastoral care. Lady Q will be streaming on how important it is to take care of your spiritual wellness, how to release your baggage while finding God's purpose in life, and the vital skills to build stronger relationships with a solid foundation, and much, much more. Now join Lady Q every third Tuesday as we stream on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and every third Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on CRRFM.com as we talk about the mind, body, and soul. A conversation you do not want to miss, and one you will definitely want to share.
Season's greetings, everyone. Each year, the Jamaican American Association of Central Florida conducts a Christmas gift drive for victims of domestic violence. Please help us to bring a smile and to brighten someone's Christmas this year by donating an unwrapped gift for a man, woman, teenager, or child at Harbor House in Central Florida. For additional information or to learn where to drop your items off, please call 407-292-3719 or 407-486-5001 or email us at jaaaocfl@gmail.com. You may also visit jaaaocf.com to make a cash donation to the gift drive. Thank you so much in advance for your generosity.
We're back again talking about consciousness being the quickest route to healing. Yes, it's true. We can have all kinds of Band-Aids and herbs and modalities and treatments and so forth that seem to do the job. But consciousness is a major factor in more effectively and more rapidly and more sustainably healing. And number one tool is to make the spiritual connection. Back in Harlem, back in the early and mid 70s, and in the 80s and up into the 90s, we had support groups for people with AIDS, cancer, lupus, all of your so-called life-threatening diseases. And there was something that all of those who survived and thrived the most had in common. They deepened the spiritual connection. They may have come from many different spiritual viewpoints or religions or non-religions, but they all recognize that they have spirits. They recognize that if they deepen that spiritual connection, they're deepening their relationship with their creator. And that's the source of the healing. And meditation is a prime role that they learned. They also learned to treat the dis-ease not as a death sentence. Even if it's a life-threatening disease, don't treat it as a death sentence, but an opportunity to realize who you are. As long as you have one breath in your body, you can embark upon that path of coming into the realization of who you are and finding the peace and joy and serenity within you that enables you to navigate through all storms of life. So consciousness in that context, it's very simple, really. If you're having symptoms and underlying them, these symptoms are certain patterns of behavior and emotions and thoughts and beliefs, and you're suppressing the consciousness of it, what are you disconnecting from? Since consciousness is a faculty of your spirit, you're disconnecting yourself from the very healing energy that's available to you. It's a simple formula. Now, people want, well, all I got to do is be conscious. Do I have to do something? Of course you have to do something. But there are people who think that meditation means escaping up into the woods, means sitting around doing nothing. No, you meditate in order to get divine insight and wisdom so that you make the right action, the action that's most productive. Your objective is ultimately to be 24/7 in that state of consciousness. So sitting to meditate is just rehearsal. I ask you, if you're a dancer, you're a basketball player, you're a musician, don't you have to rehearse? But then you have to perform on the stage of life. But if you don't rehearse, where are you going to get? Meditation is rehearsal for stopping the mind and finding yourself and availing yourself of the healing power of the spirit. And yes, it's true, in addition to meditation and seeing dis-ease as cure, that means seeing dis-ease not as a life-threatening or a death sentence, but as an opportunity to live life to the fullest. It also means finding a way of life, lifestyles that are knowledgeable and conscious of consciousness itself, as well as energy. You know, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, homeopathy, herbology, massage, whole foods, fasting, exercise, etc. But the ones that heal best do it not as a temporary fix, but as a permanent way of life. That you permanently integrate these alternative healing modalities into your life, the most important of which is consciousness. Now, I should say something here, that there are many different types of meditation. Some saints say that a lot of what's called meditation is actually concentration. And not wrong concentration, because there are proven studies that effectively concentrating on meditation can lower your blood pressure, can enable you to focus more and get more done, can eliminate or cure stress and distress. That's all good. But I'm talking about the meditation where you close down the 9 doors and open up the 10th door. What do I mean? The 9 doors, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, the mouth, and the 2 below. These are the orifices where the soul energy escapes and is not available for healing and rising in consciousness. Those are the 9 doors. They have to be closed. And then, what about the 10th door? There's a way to call it in many different spiritual paths. In the Bible, Jesus said, "Let thine eye be single, and thy whole body shall be filled with light." That's the 10th door, the single eye. The third eye, and it has many different names in different cultures. But that eye, when opened, enables you to rise above body consciousness and experience yourself as a pure soul en route to union with your Creator. Not only that, what the Masters teach is that food for the soul becomes the divine revelations that you experience in the higher states of meditation, silent meditation, and these divine revelations are medicine for the soul to aid in the healing of the soul. You see, so that means if you want to experience the realms of spirit and consciousness beyond the physical plane, the mental planes, then you have to close down those 9 doors. It's not to say that other forms of meditation aren't beneficial. Some people do walking meditation, musical meditation, all that's great. But if you want to get beyond the world of the senses, the material worlds, then you might include some silent meditation in your regimen. So before we go any further, let's take another quick break. And when we return, I want to summarize the psychosomatic relationship to dis-ease symptoms. I'll be right back.
This is Coach Lady Mia, and you're tuned into Glow 365 on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. I invite you to join Glow 365 radio and podcast shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for The Mia Allman Show, The Dis-Ease is the Cure Show, and Sisters of Faith Show, as we share honest conversations on important issues that affect men and women, on the importance of living healthy, embracing and celebrating your cultural heritage, and so much more. So keep it locked right here on CRRFM.com as we give you a little bit of everything.
Hi there. This is Joan Edgehill, President of the Jamaican American Association of Central Florida. Join me on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network every Saturday at 12:30 for community updates. Listen in to find out what's happening in your neck of the woods.
I wrote these lines to you, from a little cottage in Green.
I want to welcome you back to the Dis-Ease is the Cure show right here on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. If you just joined us, our discussion is on Lose Your Mind and Find Yourself. Talking about the psychosomatic relationship between dis-ease symptoms and the mind and emotions. In the science of psychoneuroimmunology, it's well known that how you think, how you feel, what you believe, your emotional state affects your physical body. There's a direct relationship. For instance, when you have suppressed anger over a long period of time, you have an excessive secretion of hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, which damages your immune system. If you have long periods of depression and sadness, Same thing happens. Hormones suppress your immune system. These hormones are useful in fight or flight, meaning if you see somebody like George Floyd was being beset by the police and killed, well, I'm getting angry can be healthy. If you channel that angry emotion into some social change. In other words, feel angry, don't be angry. One of the greatest impediments to our growth and development is improper use of the verb to be. I am angry. No, you're not angry. You're a divine spirit. You feel angry. I'm poor. No, you're not poor. You are not poor. You only have $10 in your bank account. Maybe you feel poor, but that's not who you are. That's just part of your costume. You see. And what I find happens is a lot of times we tend to think that, for instance, the anger we feel at a situation that we're in involving another person, actually what is happening is we're angry at the consciousness that dealing with that person is trying to come to us. Now, follow me. When you're angry at the consciousness that dealing with that person is trying to get to you, your consciousness is your connection to yourself, your spirit, which is your connection to God. So for all intents and purposes, you angry at God. And you know that's not going to get you anywhere. And we'll tend to think that dis-ease condition causes us to be angry. No, not necessarily. It exposes anger, maybe that has been residing in you all along, suppressed and denied and overlooked. So we call that process conscientization, the process of becoming aware at all times of how you're behaving, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're believing. So many times I will ask a person, what emotion do you feel about so-and-so? The person will tell me what they think. Or they'll say, I feel like. That's not telling me the emotion. And look at the word emotion, emotion. If you're not in touch with your emotions, how can you move efficiently in the field of life? So, in summary, I want to let you know that all that you need to heal is within you. There's much more to it, but consciousness is key. Conscientizing is key. Dealing with and facing the dis-ease symptoms rather than suppressing them. Even if you have to take temporary drugs or surgery or whatever, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to heal yourself? During the epidemic of corona, of COVID, one of the biggest problems was that you never heard on the media, okay, so they decide to take a vaccine. You know, there's lots of opinions about vaccines. We're not going to get into that here. But my question always was, okay, so you're going to take that vaccine, but what are you doing on a day-to-day basis to help your body heal itself? How conscious are you being? And what underlying condition that you had before COVID, how were you living that produced that condition, that put you in a weakened state to have more of a problem with COVID than someone in a healthier state? So it's about being aware and conscious, you see, and feeding yourself the foods that sustain life, beginning with consciousness, the divine revelations coming from the spirit. So we're getting ready to close. Before we do, I want to just talk to you about how you can experience free of charge soul therapy. What I mean is, do you dare to experiment with seeing the root causes of the dis-ease that you suffer? You can do it free of charge. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas bells are ringing, and the Jamaican American Association would like to invite you to our annual Christmas celebration on December 16th, 2023, from 6:30 till 11:30 at the Church of the Messiah, 241 Main Street, Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. Tickets are available at $60 for adults and $30 for children, 12 and under. Call 407-486-5001, 407-276-3685, or 407-292-3719 to get your tickets and information. Visit our website, JAAOCF.com, to learn more about us. We look forward to celebrating Christmas with you this year.
Welcome back to the Dis-Ease is the Cure show, right here on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. If you just joined our discussion, we've been talking about lose your mind and find yourself. And now I want to talk a little bit about how you can dare to experience transforming inner obstacles within you related to dis-ease through an experimental session of soul therapy free of charge. For a free consultation, just email lburg.soultherapist@gmail.com. That's lburg.soultherapist@gmail.com. Or you can text 347-989-4147. That's 347-989-4147. And just give the promo code 365GLOW-ST. That's 365GLOW-ST. So I want to thank you very much for tuning in today. And hope you can see us in 2 weeks on a Thursday, when we'll be offering some more insights on the science of dis-ease as the cure. Thank you very much and have a great week.
Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to join the conversation next Thursday, November the 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Glow 365 for Sisters of Faith show, hosted by evangelist coach Lady Q. So keep it locked right here for more upcoming shows on CRRFM.com. Until next time, remember, the dis-ease is the cure, so use it as medicine.
Hey, this is your girl Sophie G, your real sister from the Sophie G Show, and I am giving a shout out to KUO Magazine. They're dedicated to promoting a greater level of wellness in all of us. Yes, they bring out that glow. Caribbean Under One magazine features different cultures and personalities of both men and women from within our own communities, sharing biographies and their personal stories and challenges, even their secrets as to how they overcame the toughest obstacles they faced, with the hope of inspiring others. Caribbean Under One magazine gives back, and they acknowledge by honoring the ribbon of Survivors 365 by bringing awareness to those who have overcome and struggled with chronic illnesses and conditions. They inspire. KUO encourages and reminds us all of the true importance of having that glow in all our lives, a greater level of wellness. This is your girl Sophie G, your real sister, who promises to always keep it real. For me not lie, I'm not try. And I say, get your subscription today. Just log on. Tell your friends, tell your family to join in and become a member, to subscribe to KUOmagazine.com today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas bells are ringing, and the Jamaican American Association would like to invite you to our annual Christmas celebration on December 16th, 2023, from 6:30 till 11:30 at the Church of the Messiah, 241 Main Street, Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. Tickets are available at $60 for adults and $30 for children, 12 and under. Call 407-486-5001, 407-276-3685, or 407-292-3719 to get your tickets and information. Visit our website, jaaocf.com, to learn more about us. We look forward to celebrating Christmas with you this year.
Glow 365 TV presents Sisters of Faith, hosted by Coach Lady Q, founder of Sisters of Faith in Pink and Pearls. Lady Q is an evangelist, certified life and relationship coach with a bachelor's in pastoral care. Lady Q will be streaming on how important it is to take care of your spiritual wellness, how to release your baggage while finding God's purpose in life, and the vital skills to build stronger relationships with a solid foundation, and much, much more. Now join Lady Q every third Tuesday as we stream on YouTube at Glow 365 TV shows at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and every third Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on CRRFM.com as we talk about the mind, body, and soul. A conversation you do not want to miss, and one you will definitely want to share.
This is your girl, Adriana Clark, and you are now listening into Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. I invite you to join me every Saturday for Saturday Praise, when we come and we give God all the glory and all the thanks. Tune in every Saturday, 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. and make sure you keep it locked to CRRFM.com, giving you a little bit of everything.